Hello and welcome to my hobby bench yet again. On the table today I've got this RCV 91 CD engine, and those of you that watch the channel frequently will know that I just posted a video about a week or so ago. It was a long video, 40 minute something plus video on me trying to get this thing set up and tuned properly, because it was given to me by an awesome gentleman, Don, and he was having issues getting it to run. And you can go back to my, I think it was an Engine Talk episode, and I'll put a link to the description there so you can hear the whole story about it. I'm not going to go through all that again, but what I am going to do is just begin the internal investigation and see if there's something not right with this engine, and then replace the bearings. But the funny thing is that I'm seeing here is that I found some other articles on the RCV 58 engine, and one of them was really good. Actually, both of them were really good because they included a side cutaway view like this that shows all the different things in here. And there's actually 3 bearings in this engine. Now, I printed this from my printer and I'm having issues with my yellow cartridge, so I had to use yellow highlighter and it won't produce green for whatever reason. So I'll put the picture up on here, but the picture, it's really interesting because it's like there's 2 bearings that look like they're identical size on the crankshaft, and then this other bearing that the sleeve rotates in. Now this is a rotary valve engine, very similar in concept to the HP 49 and 21 VT engines. These are also rotary valve engines, but it looks like I've taken these apart several times and it looks like there's quite a bit different internally in this one. So it's going to be interesting. I've never done one of these before, so let's get into it. One of the things I've already done though is in that last video where I was, in the long video where I got it tuned, this carburetor is by far, in my opinion, the weakest link of this engine. I have never ever had such an issue getting an engine to tune properly as I have this one. It wasn't like this engine was brand new. Don had put quite a bit of fuel through this and he still couldn't get it tuned right either. This carburetor currently is in a state of the best tune possible, so I don't want to mess with it anymore. But I was like, okay, well, if we know that that is the weakest link in the engine, and this is a really large opening here, I was looking for alternate carburetors that would fit it. Now I found this alternate carburetor, and this just so happens to be an ASP61 2-stroke carburetor. The only thing with this carburetor is, yes, it does physically fit in there, but boy, it is a huge, it's got a much larger bore. So while this carburetor will technically fit here, I don't know if this engine will run any better or worse with this carburetor on there, because this carburetor is just plain huge. I mean, it's a 61 size 2-stroke. This is a 91 size 4-stroke, but it wasn't designed to be using a bore carburetor that large. So I was just hoping that I could find another carb to try, because I want to test my theory of that carb being the weakest link of this engine. I may still end up running this ASP carb on here anyway, but the thing is now, you know, they had that thing designed so that the fuel inlet was coming this way, which I don't know why they would do that. Obviously it's going to be like this, so I can't change that, but whatever, so we'll see. Anyway, so we'll possibly get to doing that, but let's get right into disassembling this engine. Now luckily the instructions actually tell you how to reassemble it and time it. I've done something very similar with the HP engine, but this one seems like it could be a little bit different, maybe a little bit more challenging by the way it's set up. So one of the things with this engine, I don't know where this drop of oil just came from. One of the things with this engine was that it puts out a ton of oil from the crankcase breather. Is that normal for this engine? I don't know. Maybe it is, but I mean, it puts out a lot. And I was also, during that run video, seeing oil coming from this area. Whether it was coming from this joint, I don't believe so. I think it was coming from the front area there. And Don bought this engine brand new, and he's the only one that's run it, except for, you know, the run I did on it. And, you know, how could the bearing be bad? I don't know how it could possibly be bad, but kind of, why would it be leaking is the question. So it's got this beautiful Woodruff key here. I should probably just start putting all these little parts in a bin here. Last thing I want is to lose a Woodruff key. So let's look at this. So it's a rubber sealed bearing, which is cool. I don't know if I see any damage there at all. Doesn't look like there's... Oh, wait a minute. I don't know. Yeah, here is something. Here, I'm gonna see if I can zoom way in on this. You see on this side here, right there, it looks like there is kind of a dimple in that rubber seal. Yeah. So it looks like something has been driven into that inadvertently, because there's definitely a dimple there. So that's where our leak is coming from. I'm pretty darn sure that that's where it's coming from right there, because it looks like something was driven in and pushed into that for whatever reason. I don't know how that could happen, but it did happen, it looks like. So I don't know if I should go about taking this top head off here. That's a different size. Let's get this intake manifold off here first before I do anything. Now I've had this intake manifold off already because I was looking at the timing on this. I think I did that maybe I did that in the engine talk video, I believe. I don't know, I don't recall now. There's been a lot going on in the last 2 weeks here. So there's that. Let's see if this, I don't know if that wanted to come off or not. I'm just going to leave that gasket there. It doesn't seem like it wants to come off. That's fine. So let's go ahead and take this top cover off. Like I said, I've never disassembled one of these before, and it's slightly different than the HP 4-stroke rotary valve engines. In that the bearing, in the HP one there's a bushed bearing, but you can also get a bearing head. There is no bearing in the head of this engine. The bearing resides around this area here, according to that cutaway drawing of a 58 CD. Those are some pretty small screws. So here we go. Now when I took this off the first time, there was a ton of oil up there also. I don't know. The only thing about disassembling this is I don't want to mess those gaskets up. So as far as I know, what you're seeing here, oh, I didn't realize I still had this so zoomed in, is the rotating sleeve. So I think now the only thing left to do is take these 6 bottom screws out and see what happens. All will be revealed. I have no idea how easy this crankcase is going to be to separate. If they've got some kind of gasket sealer or anything like that in between here, I have no idea. None. Now these are some pretty hefty screws here. These are 3mm heads. Oh, cool, there we go. It does have a serial number on here. Because I got the box here, and I mentioned this in the engine talk video. Serial number 1425 on the box. There it is. 1425 right there. Okay. I don't really know how to do this. I guess I'm going to do it like this. It seemed like all the guts wanted to stay up here and just the lower half wanted to come apart. I did want to come apart, and then I scared it. Or it scared me, one of the two. There we go. I don't know if that's something that comes out or if that's cast in there. It kind of looks like it could come out. So obviously you can see there's some oil in here. Interesting to see what this looks like in here. So everything takes place. So this looks like this is kind of like the rear cover where this kind of rides in there and it gets held in place, the connecting rod. Looks like there's a little bit of something on this crankshaft. Alright, well let's see. So there's like, so I've also got, I don't want to get this too dirty, I've also got the instructions here that show the exploded parts breakdown. So there's all kinds of stuff here. I've got all kinds of documentation with this thing. I'm just a little leery about how do I make this come apart now. There we go. So here's our stack up. So there's a ring that goes in front of this bearing. I don't know what this piece is called. Spacer, it's just called a spacer. And then you got these bearings. I'm wondering if that spacer is giving me enough room to actually get my little gear puller in there to extract this bearing. It's going to be interesting. So this is, let me wipe this down real quick. It's pretty oily. I mean, it feels good in here. It's lubricated up the way it should be. I don't know what some of this discoloration, like, I don't know if it looks like rust or if it's just dried oil. Okay, so this connecting rod has an orientation and there's little notches here that face forward, so that's for my knowledge. Here's our piston. Very small little piston. Very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know if I want to take anything else out of here. I don't think I would know how. Honestly. It certainly isn't necessary for just replacing the main crankshaft bearings. I mean, in the review articles, it seems like both the 91 CD review article and the 258 CD articles, those guys disassembled these engines completely. Now, I don't know how this is retained, and the last thing I want to do is go tapping on this and knock it out and then not have a way to put it back in there, because even though I've got this exploded parts breakdown, it says there's a circlip, but it looks like the circlip is above this and it's beneath the bearing, so you'd have to remove that clip to get that bearing out. So it doesn't look like technically there's anything holding this in place, but like I said, yeah, I don't know that I really want to go messing with that. So when I do, I can just kind of put this in here like this, and we'll just go without the little spacer there for demonstration purposes. Okay, well, I'm not quite exactly sure how I'm gonna get these bearings off. Like I said, I'm hoping that gap is big enough, and then this one I should be able to just kind of get on a punch on that side there and start tapping it down. I know this bevel gear here is held in with a Woodruff key from that cutaway and the exploded parts breakdown, so I don't want to take that thing off at all. Not that it's just keyed in place, it doesn't have an orientation, because the timing takes place with this at top dead center, and these ports set in a certain way. 50% here and 50% there, so they're saying insert. They use the word cocktail sticks, so I may have to just use some popsicle sticks. Hopefully they're the right thickness to hold that in place when I go to time it, because what I will do to retime this engine is have the piston on here like this and have this sitting at top dead center. Now how I'm going to keep it at top dead center, I don't know yet. But then to time it, have the popsicle sticks in there and then set this in place. But as of this very second, I'm not exactly sure how I would ensure that that stays at top dead center, other than just do something like this. But I don't know, I gotta compress that piston somehow then too. Oh, you know what I'd do? I think. Oh, geez, I don't know what I would do. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'm going to do to reassemble this engine at this point, but so the only thing I've determined here or seen is that yeah, something impacted that front bearing either during assembly at the factory or something, I don't know, but something contacted that and caused that to happen. Yeah, this piston ring is pretty loosey-goosey on here, so I don't know how I would. Yeah, it's conically shaped here. Yeah, so that, okay, that fits. That goes right in there. So it's the bevel gear here, the sleeve is conically shaped enough so that this can just kind of be slid right in place very easily. So all I got to do is figure out how to hold that at top dead center when I go to actually reassemble this thing and time it. So that's as far as we're going to go. I don't see anything wrong with this engine. I don't see any reason why you would have so much excess oil coming out of here. It's just must be just the design of the engine. So anyway, that's the disassembly and, you know, theoretically the inspection of this engine. Now I'm going to turn this video off and do a Boca bearing removal and installation video.